I was starting by saying humankind has always dreamed of space exploration. I have always dreamed of it. And space is a really inhospitable place, and we are limited by the physics of rocket propulsion. So what we are dealing with are things like radiation coming from the sun and galactic cosmic radiation. We're also limited by things like microgravity, which wreaks havoc with our bodies. So what could we do to mitigate the risk? We can look to see what other astronauts have done and how they changed. Now, Commander Mark Kelly is here on the left, and that is his genetic identical twin, Commander Scott Kelly. Mark Kelly stayed on Earth while his brother was up on station for almost 1 year. And then we looked at the changes, and there were a lot. Scott Kelly's microbiome changed, his telomere length changed, his cardiovascular and immune system changed, his DNA was mutated, and his gene expression changed. And of all those changes, 7% of that gene expression change didn't go back to normal. So how can we mitigate the risk? We can study organisms on this planet that deal with hostile environments. We've thrown this tardigrade up into space, and it survived the hard vacuum of space. And then we could take those lessons learned and do things like use CRISPR to edit an astronaut's genome. We might be able to edit an astronaut's genome to repair its DNA in response to the radiation it's exposed to. Another possibility is to take CRISPR and these other enzymatic systems and use them to differentially turn gene expression on and off. After all, the main persistent change for Scott Kelly was in his epigenome, these like space genes that changed. Now we can also use things like CRISPR to engineer plants. What could we do with that? Well, we could potentially make plants more resilient for astronauts as they're traveling out, improve their nutritional value, and we might even be able to engineer non-food plants to scrub CO2 from the environment so astronauts could survive better. Now, scientists on Earth have actually been tinkering with plants already, and they have improved photosynthesis and proof of concept and shown that they can increase plant production by up to 40%. Maybe we can even make the food up there taste better. Now, another thing that we have in our toolbox are stem cells. Stem cells have the possibility of becoming anything. They are pluripotent, but you don't necessarily need a fetus or a placenta. You can take adult cells, say from my skin, put them in a dish, put some factors, and revert them to that infant-like state. And if an astronaut were to bank their stem cells before going into space, they now have an insurance policy. We could take those stem cells that are genetically identical to that astronaut, put them on a chip, and create organ systems for them. So we could test things like drugs or the effects of all these different environmental changes on these little mini organoids. We could also, if the astronaut were injured or exposed to trauma in space, we could take their stem cells and use them as a bioink. We could potentially 3D print new organs or parts for them. We could inject them to go and repair the places that have been damaged. Now, if we were to take stem cells, not from the astronauts, but from animals with us, we might be able to produce cell-based meats, to put them into biovats and carry them with us. And this might provide a protein backbone for our astronauts. Or we can take astronauts' genetic reproductive material and put them into artificial wombs. So we can gestate embryos along the way and give rise to live births when they get to their destination. And I know that sounds kind of weird and creepy, but Israeli scientists actually have already done something kind of like that last year. Last year, they demonstrated that they could grow mice in artificial embryos. And as creepy as that sounds, it actually provides a lot of hope for people who are trying to have children, and it can extend a woman's fertility period. Now, another thing that we can do with our astronauts is put them into this like cryosleep, in this hibernation or torpor-like state. And what that does is it decreases their metabolic rate. So we can send fewer consumables with them, and that decreases the size and weight of the spacecraft. We could also inject them with nanobots. Yes, those also exist. And we could use those to create almost like an artificial immune system for them, and also a system that could scrub their blood for toxins or go and kill cancer cells or precisely deliver drugs. Finally, we can take synthetic biology techniques and bring them with us so that when we arrive at our destination, we can use the resources and materials in situ and do things like generate rocket propellant or 3D print our habitats or generate our atmosphere. Finally, this biohacker's guide to space is our guide to living on planet Earth, because all the technologies I just told you about will increase human health, well-being, and potentially protect our own biosphere on Earth. Thank you.
Hey there, thanks for watching. I'm Brady.
And I'm Firen, and we're the people behind Ignite Talks HQ.
The speaker you just watched was in a race against time.
Every Ignite Talk is 20 slides, and the slides change every 15 seconds, whether you're ready or not, so you've got to keep up.
It's out of control. Could you do this?
We think so. Follow us in the usual places to learn more about how you could give a talk.
And don't forget to subscribe for more speedy talks.